honored to be here with all of you today. Hello, everyone. My name is Allie McPhee, and I'm a women's health educator, and today is day 1 of the Succulent Self-Love Challenge. I'm going to wait just a minute or two to let other sisters join in, as well as pull up my comments. And while you're joining, I would love to hear where are you from, what your pronouns are, and how are you feeling today? And not just like what happens at the grocery store when we run into our friends or acquaintances and we're asked, how are you doing? And we might say, fine, but we're really not fine. This challenge is all about embracing all aspects of your inner goddess, all facets, all archetypes of your emotions, and letting them flow, letting yourself embody how you are feeling at this exact moment. So again, please share how you're feeling. Maybe it's happy, ecstatic, excited. Maybe it's enraged. Maybe you're grieving. Whatever you are feeling, please share. All of you is welcome here. Great. And I'm gonna just troubleshoot a few things to make sure we are fully getting started. Awesome. All right. So, starting to see the comments come in. Haley is saying, feeling really good with a new moon, but also feeling tired. Yeah, we have a new moon that's happening with this retreat. With the challenge, it's on the 22nd, which is also the day of the Magdalene, and there's a surprise on the 22nd, so stay tuned for that. Allison is saying that she is tired. It's been a big day of getting so much done, which felt really good, but now depleted. Well, welcome. You are so welcome here. Let's boost up your energy with this challenge this evening. If you want to boost your energy, feel that vital life force flow. Roxy is saying, hello, ladies. Thank you for being here. I'm not feeling too great, feeling heavy, tired, and feel like I need to let go and surrender to life's flow instead of grasping at ideas. Today, we're going to be diving deep into flow with the menstrual cycle and nutrition for the menstrual cycle. Veronica, sad for different reasons, relationship, but happy to be here. Welcome. And Christy is saying, hi from Southern Iowa. I'm feeling blissful today and ready to start new intentions with the new moon. Beautiful. All right, so everyone can continue sharing. Veronica says she lives in Brazil, or from Brazil, but you live in California. Awesome. Okay, so for anyone who's new, joining the live, feel free to share where you're from and how you're feeling today. And if you're not feeling happy, fine, please share how you're really feeling. All of you is welcome here. So we're going to dive in. I have a PowerPoint that I made for you all today. You're welcome to take notes if you'd like. But before we get started, I felt that it would be a beautiful way to start this challenge with 2 embodiment rituals. The first one is very simple. It's just breathing into your womb space. And again, those who may not have a womb, if you've had a hysterectomy or if you identify as woman, you can always connect to your womb space energetically. You can always tune into the creative magic of your sacral chakra. So that's how this retreat will go when we do sacred breast massage, when we breathe into the yoni, into the womb. If you don't actually want to do the massage, or if you don't actually want to touch your womb space, you can always tune into these spaces energetically, and you can do this work ethereally. So we're going to start off with a couple deep womb space breaths to really anchor ourselves into our pelvic bowl. And then we're going to do a little bit of Shakti shaking to get the energy moving and grooving. So wherever you are, if you have a moment to tune in, we're going to have our opening ceremony with tuning into our womb spaces. So if you'd like, you can place your hand in the downward facing triangle This is the symbol of ancient, divine, feminine wisdom. You can place this over your womb space. And each inhale, imagine yourself surrendering into your pelvic bowl. Your muscles relaxing on your exhale, surrendering to the earth below you, feeling heavy on your exhales. And on your inhales, breathe in life force into your womb space, activating the energy, claiming this, the throne of your creatrix queendom. And exhale, relax the pelvic floor muscles, feel the earth holding you. You don't have to do it all by yourself, all alone, all the time. Breathing in the energy from the earth, the energy from sisterhood, feeling that connection, breathing into your womb space, filling your pelvic bowl up with this connection, this life force. And exhale, surrendering down and allowing yourself to really feel present here. What would life feel like every day with connection to this space when you're making decisions, when you're love making, when you're creatively birthing your visions? What would it feel like to be deeply embodied in your root, in your pelvic bowl? Do you know what it feels like to be anchored into your pelvic bowl? And if you don't, maybe perhaps it's a new sensation. I'm just going to give you a few more moments here of breath. And then I'm going to invite you into a brief Shakti shaking so that we can get some energy moving and grooving, get endorphins flowing, dopamine flowing. Finding a song for all of you. All right. And when you're ready, I'm inviting you to open your eyes. You can stand up if you'd like. And I'm going to put on some music. And wherever you're at, you'd like to start shaking out the day's tension a little bit with me. Starting with your hands and your feet, or maybe just gently shaking your hips and really feeling anchored into your pelvic bowl. Shaking from this space, just letting it all go, letting all that energy flow through your body. Taking deep inhales, deep exhales, and letting it go. Woo. Shaking your head, shaking your shoulders if you've got tension in your shoulders. Maybe picking up your feet while you shake. Engaging the right side, your masculine side, and your left side. Your feminine side on your left side. Give yourself a few more powerful Shakti shakes, energizing the whole system from the root up to the crown of your head, opening up to Father Sky, the cosmic womb, and bringing that energy back down to your pelvic bowl and to the earth. When you're feeling pretty present, you're feeling activated, you can come back to this call. Curious to see how you're all feeling. All right, sisters. I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you in just a second, but I'd love to bring up your comments again and see how you're feeling after that. Awesome. Roxy says, love the skirt. Thank you. I'm feeling sassy. Jenna's feeling present. Awesome. Glad to see you here, love. Danielle says, I appreciate the movement. Absolutely. We're going to be doing more embodiment practices throughout the challenge. The third day, we're going to be doing a succulent self breast massage. CJ is feeling vibrant. Christy is feeling embodied. Beautiful. B is feeling energized, funny. Awesome. Kula is saying aloha. Awesome. Well, feel free to continue sharing and commenting throughout today's webinar, but we're going to dive deep because I've prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you. And I also wanted to start us off with a elixir ritual. So if you did bring your cacao elixir for your inner goddess, you're welcome to grab it now. And if you didn't bring an elixir, maybe cacao is too stimulating for you in the evening, you're welcome to grab a piece of fruit or a small piece of chocolate, whatever you would like, because we are going to be diving into food as ritual pleasure today. All right, so welcome to the Succulent Self-Love Challenge, day 1, Eat Like a Goddess with hormone balancing elixirs and recipes. I'm your guide, Allie McPhee, women's health educator, and it is such an exquisite honor to be able to serve all of you with these sacred practices that invoke feminine magnetism and help you be in tune with your body to really activate that creatrix energy and birth your dreams from juicy overflow. Right? So this is the challenge schedule. And we're going to be meeting here every day at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll probably go for about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And today, again, we're diving into food as ritual pleasure, really honoring the body temple. And tomorrow, we're going to show up here again and dive into the topic of feeling to heal. This is all about clearing our womb space from past lover energy, womb losses that we might not have grieved yet, anything to do with energy blocks of the sacral chakra with trauma and heavy energy. And so this is all to help clear by feeling what's hidden, feeling what's been repressed, and freeing up that energy naturally through embodying those emotions and utilizing those emotions as our guides, as sacred tools with messages. And then day 3, we're going to be diving into the topic, Your Sexuality is Sacred. This is the feast day of Mary Magdalene, July 22nd. And we are going to build our magnetic energy with sensual rituals, which we're going to be doing live together, like the succulent self breast massage. We are going to be talking about a yoni ritual for honoring your yoni flower. And also we're going to be honoring the womb space. And the last day, this one is where the grand prize is going to be given away, the yoni wand, the black obsidian yoni wand. And this day is all about putting it all together, essentially. The first day, we're grounding into our body temples with food. The next day, we are clearing. The third day, we are activating. And then the fourth day is creating from juicy overflow. What is our vision? What is our dharma? Why are we here? How do we want to serve? And so we're going to be talking about rituals that help us manifest with our creative sexual energy and what all that means. So we're going to be having 2 surprised guests that are going to be popping in tomorrow, as well as on Wednesday. So stay tuned. It's going to be super fun. And I just wanted to preface, modern women, there is an energy in the universe. It may be called the masculine or the patriarch. Bless it. It's not wrong. But modern society, at least Western modern society, has been in that polarity, kind of overextended in that polarity. And there can be a lot of go, 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 rushing. And honestly, rushing is violence. There's a book called The Rushing Woman Syndrome, which I find really interesting because in modern day times, it's very interesting for the modern day woman that may have big dreams, goals, visions, building a business, and also be taking care of the children and cleaning the house and feeling like there's all these roles that culturally or religiously or from your family's traditions that a good woman should uphold, that a good woman should do. And this is how she shows up in the tidiness of her home, in the role in the bedroom, in the role for her children. There's so many ways that this role of a good woman can pop up. And so this challenge is about breaking free from anything that is essentially limiting your vibrancy. And if you desire to be, a great mother or make juicy love in the bedroom, there's nothing wrong with that. And we're going to be diving into these practices to help you tune into a wellspring of vibrancy and energy. So when you are in those roles, you're present, because that's what rushing does. Rushing takes us out of our body and it puts us in the task, gotta complete it. And it takes us out of our body. It takes us out of our flow. It takes us out of love making with all life, co-creating with the divine. And so I have an invitation for you, and that is to be present. Be present when you eat your meals and when you prepare your meals and when you dine. Be present in the bedroom. Be present in your self-care practices. Be present with the emotions that you are feeling. Be present in your decisions and be confident with what decision you made. If it turns out it's not something that you wish you would have done, if it feels like a quote unquote mistake, which I don't believe in mistakes, I believe that everything is a learning opportunity, know that you can always do better, but don't judge yourself. Don't shame yourself continually. Don't second guess yourself continually. Allow yourself to be present with what is, learn, grow, and fully take up that space in your self-care ritual. If your mind goes to the list that isn't done, be present in your body. This is my invitation for you. This is how we expand pleasure, through engaging our senses and being present in our body temples. So that is my invitation. Who's with me? Say yes or hell yes or hella yes if you're in it for the next 4 days. Super, super stoked to be sharing these practices with you. So today is all about the goddess archetype, Pachamama, the Incan goddess, also Gaia, or changing woman, who is a Navajo goddess. And we see changing woman come up in the changing of the menstrual cycle, or the cycles of womanhood. In the menstrual cycle, there's 4 inner seasons that we're going to be talking about today that you can actually eat to support those 4 seasons hormonally. And then through the cycles of womanhood, maiden, mother, into enchantress, which is the perimenopause, perimoonpause phase, and then into crone, which is our inner wise woman, our moon pause. We see the cycles of life, right? We see it in the moon phases, from new to waxing to full to waning. We see it in the seasons, from winter, spring, summer, fall. We see this beautiful cyclical energy of Shakti everywhere. So today we're celebrating that Shakti in the body. I'm seeing some yeses. I'm seeing some hell F yes. Awesome. All right. So if you're with me, you can grab your piece of food, or you can grab your elixir. And plug my phone in real quick. All right. Are y'all still with me? It told me I got booted off of Zoom for a second. Please let me know. Say yes if you're still with me. I want to make sure we're still here. I'm waiting to see. Let me know if you all can still hear me. Okay, cool. I'm getting a yes. All right, so back to the screen share. Thank you, everyone. All right, so part of connecting with cacao medicine is cacao is a sacred plant spirit, a plant medicine. And because it is a spirit, we can connect to it and activate it. And how cacao likes to be activated, and I've learned this through a few of my cacao sorceress friends, is we can sing to the spirit of the cacao. She's a sassy spirit and she loves to be sang to be activated. This is also the way that we can activate our heart medicine, is being able to use our voices to sing and connect to our heart spaces. And I'm gonna sing with you all, and you're welcome to join me or just listen and receive these vibrations, and hold your cacao or the piece of food that you're gonna be enjoying, hold it to your heart. I'm gonna sing 3 rounds. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. For this last one, raise up your cup and cheering together and honoring your body temple. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. And bringing this cacao medicina to your heart, letting it touch your heart, feeling your heart chakra activate, feeling it pulse. And as we have our opening ceremony today, again, breathe deep into your pelvic bowl, your presence with your sensuality, your creativity, your fertility, your sexuality, all the magic of the sacral chakra. And as you breathe that energy in your womb space, breathe it up into your heart and feel it infuse into this cacao. And breathe in, maybe take a deep inhale, breathe in the aroma of the cacao. Allow your senses to receive this medicine before you even taste it. Allow your senses to engage. And as you anchor into your body, into this space, sensory engaged, allow yourself to receive these questions. This was the journal prompt in your email this morning or last night. Just reflect as I ask you these questions. What is your current relationship to food? What is your current relationship to food? And in what way can you bring more self-love into your daily meals? What would that look like? And allow yourself to awaken your imagination and visualize what it would look like to be eating meals in pleasure. Would you be setting the table and making it super beautiful, lighting candles, inviting friends over? Maybe that's eating mindfully. Maybe it's partaking in a fast. Or maybe it's having a picnic in nature. Visualize what feels pleasurable to you when you think about mealtime, honoring your body, and invoking pleasure. And breathe in the essence of that vision and make a commitment to yourself. How are you going to invoke more pleasure into your mealtime? And once you're clear on that commitment, you can raise your glass and allow yourself to slowly, mindfully take your first sip. And as it goes into your mouth, you let yourself taste it, having your taste buds awakened. Really allow your body breathe into your pelvis and allow your whole system to receive this elixir medicine. Your cells receiving nutrients, your body receiving life force minerals. How much can you let yourself open to taste? How much can you let your senses engage and experience this elixir for your inner goddess? Can you allow yourself to activate through the sense of taste? And if so, join me in another sip. Woo! Awesome. So thank you for partaking with me in that. You can continue drinking your elixir. And I would love to hear, what is your commitment? What is your commitment to invoking more pleasure in your sacred mealtime? To really honor this vessel as a temple. I'd love to hear what your intention is. So in our Facebook group, feel free to type it out so your community can see. I'm going to pull up Facebook again. Oh, that cacao was delicious. While I'm waiting for your responses, I wanted to share a little bit about the company that I put in your ingredient list. This is Firefly Chocolate. They are based out of Sebastopol, California. They have great ethics. They work with indigenous cacao farmers. They even travel to these communities. This one that I'm working with tonight is the Glowing Guatemala. Their Tantric Rose Blossom is amazing, as well as I think it's the 12 or 14 mushroom blend. They have one with like reishi mushroom and turkey tail and all that jazz. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you think of the cacao if you ended up getting Firefly cacao, and what country you ended up working with. They also have a Belize, a Tanzania. So I'm curious to see. And I'm pulling up. Beautiful. Oh, your commitments are so gorgeous. Jenna is committing to getting back into giving Reiki to every meal I eat. That's awesome. Danielle is enjoying a ripe plum that was just sitting in their fridge. My commitment is to slow down when I eat. This is a huge deal for me when I'm always multitasking. Totally. A lot of the times we got to get to the next place, and we might be eating in the car, and you know, when we're in that fight or flight mode and we're so thinking on what we need to do next, that can actually cause there to be challenges with digestion, because our digestive tract actually shuts down when we are under stress. And so we may have, you know, bloating or gassiness or poor nutrient absorption when we are, you know, eating from that rushing space. So thank you for sharing that. Allison is saying, my commitment is to be more present and open my receptor sites and cells to receive the medicine of what I place in my body. Beautiful. Letitia, making more time for breakfast in the morning, not rushing. Yes, yes. Haley, eat nutrient dense whole foods at each meal, eating to support each stage of my cycle. Beautiful. We'll dive into that in just a little bit. Christy, yes, tantric rose is my favorite. You're talking about the cacao, the firefly cacao. Christy is planning my meals in advance, so I'm not scrambling around to cook. Yes, this is crucial, especially before your late luteal phase and your menstrual phase of your menstrual cycle, if you're menstruating. I know for me, once I get to those phases, I just want to relax and to think about traveling to the store and planning food. It's great to have things on stock already prepared. It makes me feel super abundant, so I love that. Denise is saying tantric. Kristen is saying sitting down with a calm spirit to experience what I'm putting inside my body. Yeah, it's interesting as you say that. I'm thinking how much food essentially is like sex in a way, right? Like when we slow down, we are receiving something in our body. So being as present with our food as lovemaking. I see everything in life as lovemaking, right? When we have that presence and we can really receive and be intentional, life is lovemaking. Eating is a lovemaking ritual with Mama Gaia. Veronica is saying beautiful table, candles, lots of strawberries to eat slower than I do and be more present. Beautiful. Stephanie, my commitment is to be more present when eating and just think about what I'm putting into my body. Beautiful. Kula Rose, I am committed to eating outside and being mindful, connecting with the life force. Beautiful. Tiara, to slow down and to sit, to eat. Mandy, giving thanks to every meal I have and chew each bite consciously and give it my full attention, phone or TV. Yeah, absolutely. Michelle is to be present in my meals and listen to my body's needs. Beautiful. Roxy just did a juice cleanse. Awesome. Yeah. B is committing to stop procrastinating while cooking, rushing while cooking, and wanting to take supplements in the morning. Beautiful. Beautiful. Denise, her commitment is to start meal prepping. Beautiful. I guess I'm clearing energy. They say that sneezing and coughing and yawning is clearing energy. So I'm clearing out the old paradigms of eating and really embracing all of your intentions and really holding you all in my heart. Thank you so much for sharing. Continue to share if you haven't shared yet. So I would love to share with you all just a little bit more about our elixirs. So I'm going to pull up, if you haven't gotten the elixir book, this is the Succulent Elixirs recipe book. And okay, actually, let me pause. Okay, so this is the Succulent Elixirs recipe book. Where did it go? Where did you go, my friend? Here we go. And I designed this for all of you because I come from an emotional eating background. I'm a deep creative soul with lots of Vata energy when it comes to my business and my creative ventures. And I would experience a lot of anxiety as well as perfectionism. And my relationship with food has been a really interesting one. Throughout my childhood, there was a lot of perfectionism too in performance, in meeting goals and meeting deadlines and getting good grades. And this came out into the way that I would control or lack of control in my eating habits. And so for me, one of the ways that I found to really honor my body instead of restrict or try to control or be really good with food and then punish myself later when I went off the bandwagon or whatever, is I found a way to honor my body when I had a craving. And that was working with elixirs. The idea of elixir, a potion, a tonic seems very witchy to me and very magical. Plus, when I'm making these elixirs, I'm using different adaptogenic herbs, which I know a lot of you weren't able to get the Love Tonic, which I wanted to talk a little bit about the Love Tonic today. And they'll be back in stock by the end of this month. They said COVID has slowed some things down. But being able to add different, adaptogenic herbs that are going to support my adrenals and my liver and my digestion, and being able to, slow down, take a pause from my busy workday and be present with, heating up the water and putting it into the blender and adding the cacao, adding the ashwagandha, adding whatever sweetener base that I wanted to use, which, by the way, a lot of these recipes contain either dates or honey or Lakanto monk fruits. I'm actually a huge fan of using less actual sugar in my elixirs. This is something that I love to work with, the Lakanto monk fruit. It's sugar-free. I'll often work with stevia as well. Not everyone likes the flavor of stevia. Sometimes I'll even do like a date and stevia paired together, or honey, especially if I'm around my local beekeepers who have honey straight from the hive in my local town. So good for the immune system. So elixirs became a way for me to pause and to really drop into my body temple and honor what was coming up. Yes, I was having a food craving. Yes, I wanted nourishment from Mama Gaia. But instead of going into the kitchen, stuffing myself with something and then shaming myself for eating it, this was a way to own food as grounding pleasure. This was a way to honor my body temple. This was a way to pause. And oftentimes I would have a little ritual or ceremony just like we had together a little bit ago. And so it is my desire that all of you really honor your body as a temple during those days that you feel like rush, 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 go, 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 and need a pause, and to utilize these recipes as a sacred practice for you to connect into your intention, really be present with your body, and allow yourself to feel rejuvenated from that pause that you gave yourself, rather than pushing through, rather than drinking more coffee, allowing yourself to really pause and nourish yourself and honor that nourishment that wants to happen. So this is today's the first recipe is the cacao elixir for your inner goddess. I'm really curious to hear what all of you think. You're welcome to type in the comments if you made it and what you thought of it. I often will make it with rose petals, sometimes not. I love working with the love tonic, but since we've been since medicinal foods is out of the love tonic, some some substitutes, you could use maca. Maca is great, as well as ashwagandha. Ashwagandha kind of has an interesting flavor, but it's so good for the thyroid. It's so good for the adrenals. Maca, these are both roots, by the way. Maca is it's called nature's aphrodisiac, nature's Viagra. Actually, a lot of studies have been done on men with maca and how it impacts them. So it's called nature's Viagra. But for those who have a womb space and a female hormonal system, maca can actually, yes, it does increase the libido. It also increases stamina, and it can help the pituitary and hypothalamus glands in your brain connect to your ovaries and build that communication so your body produces the right amount of sex hormones each month. Sex hormones are fertility hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And maca can help that communication if there's been a challenge in that communication between the pituitary hypothalamus in the brain with the ovaries. And by the way, the ovaries produce those sex hormones. I did want to say just a word for anyone who has had maca, and after they had maca, they've had heavier menstrual cycles or painful breasts. Not everybody metabolizes maca the same way. For those who are already having a difficult time metabolizing estrogen, may have a challenging time metabolizing maca. And so if you are one of those people and you're using maca regularly, just tune into your body. With any food, I may say like, this food is really good for the follicular phase and for the ovulatory phase. And you're like, well, that food gives me an upset stomach and then I get gas and brain fog. Like, all of our bodies are different. All of our digestive tracts are different. So the way your body reacts to a certain food is your body communicating to you. So listen to it. So that is the recipe that I wanted to share with you all today. And tomorrow I'm going to dive deeper into tomorrow's recipe tomorrow, but I just wanted to show you that tomorrow will be a golden milk. And I usually make a turmeric paste first, which is shown here in the description, how to make a turmeric paste. You'll have a lot left over, so you can make many golden milks in the future. And the reason why I chose this one is because tomorrow we're going to be feeling to heal. We're going to be doing some deep clearing, and this can be very gentle and soothing. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. So, and if you don't want to work with dates, again, the Lakanto monk fruit, this is really nice, as well as honey is super nice in this. And I get this, if anyone wants to know, I get this actually from the health food store. It carries it now. So that's what I wanted to share with all of you. And the last bit is, let me share my screen again. I want to invite you, if you haven't finished your elixir, to pull it out one more time. I've got a little bit left. Oh, here we go. And lastly, this was your affirmation for today. And if you still have elixir, or you still have a little bit of fruit, something to nibble, again, bring it to your heart. Allow yourself to smell it, receive it, allow your senses to awaken. And you're welcome to say this affirmation with me. My body is my temple. I honor it with nourishing meals and eat each bite with pleasure and presence. One more time, and really claim it. Let your whole subconscious and conscious mind hear it. My body is my temple. I honor it with nourishing meals and eat each bite with presence and pleasure. Oh, yes. And cheers. Thank you all so much. So I wanted to share with you something super special. This Succulent Self-Love Challenge that I'm offering is actually a celebration in the doors opening to my Juicy Feminine Leadership Academy. This is my signature program. And we actually start with nutrition as pleasure in the first session, the first couple weeks, because when we are expanding our ability to serve, which this whole course is about, being in your body while you're serving your Dharma without burning out and enhancing your creatrix abilities. So being in your body, knowing how your hormones fluctuate, being in right relationship with food is so important, because so often if we just keep trying to push ourselves and we rely on coffee and we don't sleep enough and we're disconnected to our mealtime and our digestion is off, this is going to deplete our energy quick. If our digestion is wonky, our digestive tract is directly connected to our brain, and we might have mental fogginess, and it might be hard to create. And who wants to create and share your Dharma with the world when you're feeling burned out and ick? I know for me, the whole day I was really preparing essentially my energy field to host this for all of you, because I really wanted to feel embodied as I shared this medicine with all of you, so you could feel that energetic transfer. It's all about energetic transmission. We feel each other, right? And when somebody is carrying a certain vibration, we can attune to that vibration and it can help lift us up. We can do this for each other. So mealtime, I believe, is one of the most beautiful ways that we get to connect in this human vessel with nature. So connecting to local farmers, supporting local farmers with our dollars, supporting local co-ops, this is all sacred. It's sacred economy. And so I wanted to also share with you a philosophy that I found really important, and I touched on it earlier, and that is restriction versus abundance at mealtime. And again, I shared my experience when I was going through emotional eating back in the day, and how elixirs were deeply supportive for this process. Because, when you may resonate with this, if you've ever, experienced a new diet or new program or new book or something, and there can be that energy of like, okay, if I follow this plan to a T, then I will get this result, and then I become this. And you may be really good for several weeks. Maybe you're losing weight, maybe you have more energy, maybe things are better, and then you feel great. But then what happens is life, right? Something can happen that can cause an emotional wave. Pace can pick up, and maybe you didn't have enough time to prepare that meal that you needed to eat. And then suddenly you might find yourself in the bottom of an ice cream container. And then it's like shame, 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 right? I did bad, I failed. And then that can cause more of this feeling, right? So the style of food as medicine, as pleasure, that I like to look at is, instead of like restriction or following something so specific that takes you out of your body and your intuitive signs, is to more look at food as an abundant canvas, bringing in different nutrients and spices and herbs, and those are essentially your paint. And your kitchen is this canvas that you get to create and love make with food. And so really tuning into food as this abundance, like, Mama Gaia will continue to grow. She'll continue to grow more, grow more abundance for us, and really feeling expansive around our food choices rather than from an intention, an unconscious intention of restriction. When we feel abundant, this can cause more flow, and this is more sustainable, I feel. As well as that whole goal around like, once I lose 5 pounds, I will become this. Once I look like this, then I can, go on a date and be with my lover and be naked with my lover. It's great to have goals, but when we leave our bodies, when we come into this mind of this, once I'm this, then I will love myself. Then I will be worthy enough. That sort of, unconscious belief, that's what can cause this dissociation of self-love, right? So the new mantra that I'd love for you to take in is, how can I love myself every day exactly how I am right now? Even if COVID made me stressed and I'm 10 pounds overweight than I normally am, how can I love this vessel? How can I love this belly? How can I love these stretch marks? How can I really honor this temple and feel abundant in my meal choices and really nourish myself every day with the goal in mind that I would like to move towards? And with that kind of sustainability of thought and self-love every day, that presence in your everyday mealtime and rituals and feeding yourself and loving yourself, those every moments suddenly turn into days, into months, into years. And then when you do reach your goal, it's not something out of you, it's something you've become because it was already within. So I feel like this is such a powerful, powerful perspective, and I wanted to share that with all of you. And if you are feeling a hell yes, you can give me a hell yes in the comments. I'm excited to hear how you tune into food the rest of this week in our challenge. And I wanted to share a testimonial from Kelly, who took JFL Academy. So she has a marketing company, and she realized through JFL that she was relating to food in unhealthy ways. She said, I turned to food to avoid my work projects and to avoid becoming a successful woman. I actually used food to keep myself small. I learned how to truly nourish and connect with myself. I gained more energy and clarity to pour into my projects and show up for people. My business became full of clients over just a few months. And she actually had an extraordinary story. I've got her video up on my my site where she talks about it. Her income tripled within just a couple months of joining JFL. And we talked about it later. She realized that anytime she sat down to work and felt like a task was daunting, and you may also feel like this, I know that I've been there. If there's a work task that's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to dive into this? Oftentimes, like, we can divert to snacking, especially if you're working from home, which a lot of us probably are with COVID. The kitchen's right there. Oh, I don't want to deal with this. And then food becomes a way to numb or ground or take your mind off of what you need to do. So when she really tuned into her relationship with food and reassessed it and really came into sacred mealtime and what that meant for her, she had this whole new relationship that gave her a lot of new energy. And yeah, so celebrating Kelly, and wanted to share that with all of you as an inspiration. So I wanted to also share a little bit about the birth control contraceptive, because I was reading a few of your comments and your intentions, and some of you just got off the birth control contraceptive. Some of you may still be on it. I wanted to give a little bit of history about the pill and why it can be a challenge for female hormones. And then after this, I'm going to share with you how to support your body with your four inner seasons with nutrition. So the thing about the pill is you never essentially ovulate. You're always kind of in this pre-ovulation phase. The egg that normally would burst through the follicle during ovulation, that process never happens. So when you get your bleed, typically in a menstrual cycle that's not being, where you're not receiving synthetic hormones, typically when you get your bleed, it's because you ovulated, and then 10 to 14 days later, your body will know that you didn't get pregnant, and progesterone levels will drop. And then you'll start to shed your uterine lining, and all your hormones will return to a low level. The pill gives you synthetic hormones. It gives you this estrogen, and it's synthetic estrogen. It's not estrogen that your body makes. And it gives you progestin, which is a synthetic form of progesterone, which studies now show that progestin, when metabolized in the body, in the small intestine, it actually can convert into estrogen. So it's like you're getting a huge dose of estrogen. I was on the birth control contraceptive for 5 years. When I stopped taking it, I didn't have a period for 2 years. When my period finally came back, and my case was kind of extreme. I kind of had a lot going on. I was opening a restaurant. I was the head chef. I was the manager. I was working a lot on my feet, very stressed. I got my period back, but I got it for 2 weeks every single month. This went on for about 10 months to a year. It was heavy. I was exhausted. And yeah, that's essentially why I ended up resigning from this position that was like my dream job. Is my menstrual cycle was going crazy. And the OBGYN wanted to put me back on birth control contraceptives or give me synthetic progesterone. And I wanted to do this the holistic route. So that's when I really dove into nutrition as my medicine and found out about the 4 inner seasons of the menstrual cycle and how the hormones fluctuate in a 28-day cycle. And since I did have my period back, I worked with these phases and supported my body repleting the depletion of the minerals, of the vitamins that had happened while I was stressed and on the pill. Because by the way, the birth control contraceptive or even antidepressants, these can impact our gut and make it difficult to absorb certain minerals and nutrients. So for example, the B vitamins, zinc, iodine, this is all really important for our hormonal health. And I had to repair my gut and build up these mineral reserves. And by doing that and then working with the energetics of each of these inner seasons, my period came back to 3 to 5 days. Now I love my menstrual cycle. I see it as a sacred time to pause, and we'll dive deeper into what PMS stands for. Hint, please make space. We'll talk more about emotions and womb clearing tomorrow. But I just wanted to share that food became my medicine. And if you are thinking that you want to get off the pill, it can take your body some time to readjust, but it's so important to give your body the nutrients and the minerals that might be depleted. Again, like zinc, magnesium, selenium, iodine, B vitamins. These are all really important to give your body. And also, I just want to share that the time that we are fertile is our ovulatory phase. When I was in high school and middle school and taught the birds and the bees, I never really understood when I could actually get pregnant. So I got on the birth control pill out of fear because I didn't understand my body's natural rhythm and my fertility window. If you look into Taking Charge of Your Fertility, is an awesome book by Tony Weschler. If you look into taking charge of your fertility and the fertility awareness method or the Justice method, which are both very similar. It involves taking your basal body temperature and tracking your cervical fluid signs. You can find out exactly when you've ovulated. The next day, you'll be able to tell with the temperature rise. It's pretty fascinating. And so when I started to support my body with this new nutrition, I also journaled about my menstrual cycle every day, how I was feeling. And after 3 months, really came to understand my inner rhythm, which I have a whole course on that I teach called Goddess in Rhythm, which takes you into rituals, recipes. So I wanted to dive in a little bit further with you all right now and also see in the chat box, do you know where you're at? Some of you may already know this concept, some of you may not. And by the way, we're probably going to go about 10 to 15 minutes over time. So we'll finish about 9:15 Eastern Standard Time tonight. I know that all of you probably have things you need to do this evening. So thank you for being here. But as far as the seasons in the menstrual cycle goes, so if you're going to track your cycle, if you haven't started to track your cycle, day 1, when you start bleeding, is the first day of your menstrual cycle. And this is considered the menstrual phase, which is your inner winter. The uterine lining is shedding, your breasts are going to be less firm, all of your hormones return to a low level. And this goes on for about 3 to 5 days. Sometimes people have about 7 days of bleed. And then you'll go into your inner spring. This is also called the follicular phase. This starts around day 5, and the follicular phase it begins right after you stop bleeding. And it'll end once your juicy cervical fluid starts to arise and release from your cervix. That's the indication that, okay, now we're entering into our fertility window. So your follicular phase is going to depend. I mean, the length of it, the duration is going to depend and vary person to person. Some people have a 25-day cycle. If you have a 25-day cycle, you get your period every 25 days, your follicular phase is going to be shorter. You're going to ovulate earlier. And if you have a longer cycle, 32, 34 days, you're actually going to have a longer follicular phase and you're going to ovulate a little bit later. In a 28-day cycle, which we're going to go, what this information is going by, typically you would ovulate around day 14, day 15, if you have a 28-day cycle. And so the spring, the inner spring phase, all your hormones were low. Now estrogen starts to rise, and estrogen is a building hormone. It's a growth. It grows your uterine tissues, your breasts. It's a hormone that makes you feel very creative. And so the inner spring is a time to initiate new projects. You might be feeling like you're coming out of hibernation and you have this new sense of energy. Then when you go into your ovulatory phase, which is the shortest typically of all the phases, it's usually about 3 days, sometimes 5 days, 3 to 5 days. It's when that juicy cervical fluid is present. And the last day of your ovulatory phase, your egg is going to burst through the follicle on your ovarian wall. And then you essentially have about 6 to 24 hours to get pregnant. Pretty fascinating, right? So in the ovulatory phase, the hormones estrogen and testosterone are very high at this phase of the month. And this can make you feel really expressive, really flirty. High testosterone can like skyrocket your libido, your sex drive. And so this is a time of the month I love to write. I am a writer. I originally went to school for English. And so whenever I'm, write, like for example, this whole Succulent Self-Love online retreat, I wrote a lot of the emails in my ovulatory phase because I was feeling it, right? Like the high estrogen gives you a lot of creativity, you feel really expressive, you feel really expansive. And it's like the season of summer. Summer is a very fertile time. The trees are fully expanded in their leaves. The fruits are falling from the tree, ripe and ready, right? And then we go into our autumn phase, our fall phase called the luteal phase. And this happens after ovulation is over. The egg is released at the end of ovulation. alive for 6 to 24 hours. It's either fertilized or not. And then immediately your body will start to produce progesterone. And progesterone is a hormone that is going to help sustain your uterine lining to prevent miscarriage if that egg got fertilized and implanted into your womb. And in the beginning of the luteal phase, you'll still kind of have some of that high, flirty estrogen and testosterone, feeling that energy. And then it'll start to, those hormones will start to drop. They should, if your liver is metabolizing them properly. And then towards the middle to the end of this phase, progesterone is going to kick in, which is a hormone that helps you feel calm. If you feel a lot of anxiety during your PMS, it could be a sign of low progesterone. So progesterone should help you feel calm, and it can help your brain really feel organized. And then 10 to 14 days later after you ovulate, if you don't get pregnant, progesterone levels will drop, which will signal it is time to shed the uterine tissue. It's time to clear, and we'll talk about energetic clearing tomorrow, but it's time to clear and restart. So I'm curious to hear, after I shared all of this with you, do you know where you're at in your menstrual cycle? And if you don't have if you're not cycling right now, you're welcome to share in the chat box too that, when was your last menstrual cycle? Or if you don't have a menstrual cycle, do you connect with the moon? Because that's another thing. If you've had a hysterectomy or you don't have a womb space, you can attune to the phases of the moon, which, by the way, the new moon, typically a lot of women are bleeding on the new or full moon. The moon phases are closer to the earth. The moon is closer to the earth at the new and the full moon. And so there's a stronger gravitational pull, which can cause this like secretion on our reproductive space and secrete menstrual fluids in our menstrual phase or ovulatory fluids in our ovulation phase. So if you don't have a womb, you can energetically tap into the moon phases and feel like you are going through your energetic bleed on the new moon or the full moon. And so I'm curious if you resonate with that as well. So I'm looking at, let's see, Melina is saying summer. Leanne is saying fall. I'm in my fall too. I'm like mid to getting to my later luteal phase. Allison is saying, I totally connect with the moon. She's my love. Yeah. What moon phase do you feel like you bleed on, my love? What energetic moon phase do you connect most with your clearing? Denise says, ovulatory summer. Destiny, hey babe, says bleed with a half moon. Awesome. I have an article on moderngoddesslifestyle.com that talks about creatively when you bleed in the different moon phases, like what that could mean. Because I don't believe there's like a right or wrong time to bleed. And I have more information there if you want to check it out. Danielle is saying, inner spring, gonna dive into my writing, poetry, designing, homeschool curriculum. Yeah. Allison says she energetically connects with her bleeding phase on the new moon. Awesome. So you're welcome to, oh, Ashling is here. Hey, babe. Day 16, you're in your inner summer. Destiny is saying, ooh, link. It's at moderngoddesslifestyle.com. You'll have to search on the blog a couple pages back. It's called like your menstrual cycle and the moon cycle. Roxy just finished her bleed today. Beautiful. Start to a new cycle. Jenna is saying, I used to bleed with the full moon, but here I am, day 1 today. Happy moon time, love. Full on winter vibes. Ashling is saying, Goddess in Rhythm is amazing, by the way. Oh, thanks, love. Yeah, you were in the Goddess in Rhythm program with me. Yeah, Destiny, you know what? I'll post that article later. Awesome. Okay, cool. If anyone wants to continue sharing, you're more than welcome to. Great. So now we're getting into food. So in the menstrual phase, this is a great time to pause from coffee. By the way, if you're a coffee drinker and you don't want to give it up, I know one of you here, Destiny, I'm just going to say it, knows that I love my bulletproof coffee when we're doing our magnetic masterminds. If you love drinking coffee, you don't want to give it up, I highly recommend bulletproof coffee. It's free of mold and you blend healthy fats like ghee or grass-fed butter or MCT oil in it. I also put cinnamon in it. this helps with blood sugar balance. But I would highly recommend taking regular pauses from drinking coffee, especially during your bleeding phase. And if you still need like a pick me up, a matcha latte, like the one that I've shared in the the Succulent Elixirs recipe book, is a great substitute. The golden milk, so good for your bleeding phase. We're going to be having it tomorrow, and the golden milk is anti-inflammatory and really supportive. The nettle infusion. So you can take nettles and put them into a mason jar with hot water, put the top on, steep it for about 8 to 12 hours, and then strain it. The longer steep is going to pull out the deep minerals in the nettles. So we're talking calcium, magnesium, iron. Nettles are like a goddess's rejuvenation tonic. So I highly recommend drinking about a cup of nettle infusion during your moon time for restoration. And bone broth. Bone broth is really great for adrenal nourishment. It's great for the gut lining. It's got collagen for your connective tissues, and it's really warming and full of minerals. And so the menstrual phase, having broths, soups, warming foods, especially if it's cold outside where you live, because if your reproductive space, if your body is feeling frigid, a thing can happen called uterine cold. This is taught in Chinese medicine, and there may not be enough circulation helping you release that blood flow and having, that blood flow come on. You might have some stagnation. And so making sure you have enough warming foods at this time are powerful. And then foods high in iron, zinc, B vitamins, because when we're bleeding, we are shedding that uterine lining, and we're also releasing minerals in our blood. So I love to give my blood back to Mama Gaia. I pour it on the earth wherever I'm residing, because I tend to be nomadic a lot of the times. So I pour it back to the earth. I give it to my plants. I give it to the soils. It's a great way to honor the earth and release what we're no longer needing to carry, and honor the earth and say a prayer. I love to sing, and then give these minerals back to the earth so that her plants can grow abundant. Sacred reciprocity. So the follicular phase, some elixirs for the follicular phase. I would also recommend the golden milk for the follicular phase as well, because as you are, so in the follicular phase, your ovaries release 15 to 20 eggs that remain in these follicles that start growing on your ovaries. One of them becomes the most dominant during ovulation and bursts through due to the high estrogen and the luteinizing hormone that are high at that time. And so the follicles can be nourished by the anti-inflammatory herbs like turmeric. So golden milk is a great time for the follicular phase as well as energy expansive elixirs and juices and smoothies. A lot of like vibrant, colorful produce is really great for this phase. Again, a nettle infusion to continue building up those minerals that you might have lost during your bleeding phase. And red raspberry leaf is very toning for the reproductive space. Bone broth, and then lemon and water is going to support the liver to help metabolize any excess estrogen that can be rising during your follicular phase. And also during this phase, energizing and young foods. So since spring is like new energy, expanding energy, it's that waxing moon energy, the maiden, any young foods. So like eggs and sprouts, microgreens, this is all great. The ovulatory phase is, I love that Aphrodite's rose potion. I personally love the taste of rose. So I'm excited to see what you all think of this. It's milky, it tastes like rose. Unfortunately, if you don't have the love tonic, this tastes really nice in Aphrodite's rose potion. I don't know how ashwagandha, if you do use ashwagandha or maca, I don't know how that's going to impact the flavor. So I just use a little bit if I were you. But rose is the highest vibrational frequency on this planet, and it's very activating for the heart. And this phase is all about expansive energy and fertility. And I think this potion is so yummy for this phase. Also, when you think in terms of food, think about like, what do you eat when you're outside in the summer? You go to the farmer's market and there's all these beautiful berries of all different colors. Berries are super high in antioxidants. Antioxidants are very important for fertility health, the health of maturing eggs, as well as vitamin E. So like avocados, almonds, even peanut butter. If you get peanuts that aren't, a lot of peanuts can have mold on them. So if you make sure you get a high quality brand, these all have vitamin E in it, which are really supportive for those developing eggs in the follicles. And then the luteal phase, I recommend the cacao elixir for your inner goddess, the one that we had today, which I just have one last sip, so I'm going to drink it now. And that's because cacao, raw cacao, this is cacao with the cacao butter, which the cacao butter is the fat of the cacao. You can get cacao butter separate from the fiber. Cacao powder is just the fiber. It's powdery. The butter is, you'll see it's like a white solid substance. And this actually has both. It's actually called cacao paste, but cacao is full of magnesium. And a lot of people who have challenges with PMS, painful periods, and menstrual health challenges, oftentimes magnesium can be depleted. So I love to honor my body temple with cacao in my luteal phase, as well as it gives like a surge of endorphins and dopamine, which is really nice because sometimes this phase can feel like, woo, really intense. Also this phase, because autumn is a contracting energy, eating root vegetables that grow underneath the ground are very grounding. And remember, progesterone is a grounding hormone. So the energy of root vegetables and roasting them is really nice. Plus, root vegetables like sweet potatoes are full of complex carbohydrates, which can help you stay fuller longer, because metabolically we burn about 200 to 300 more calories at this phase. And because of that, progesterone requires more protein, by the way. Because of that, we might be finding ourselves like grabbing all of these carbohydrate sweets like cakes and cookies and things like that, and then eating all throughout the day, or grabbing more coffee for energy and then burning ourselves out. So healthy fats, clean protein, complex carbohydrates like roasted root vegetables, so good. And then liver supporting foods, because estrogen, if estrogen and testosterone are too high from ovulation and the liver hasn't metabolized it well, that's going to cause challenges with PMS later down the road, because oftentimes PMS is, oftentimes it can be from low progesterone and too high estrogen, which essentially is called estrogen dominance. So liver supporting foods like cruciferous vegetables, so good. This is my last slide that I want to leave you all with. And then I want to hear from you all in the comments before we end our opening ceremony for today. But I really also want to invite you to really tune in with your mealtime this week in engaging the 5 tastes of pleasure. Because when we go back to this thought about abundance in our kitchen, not restriction, when we have abundance, when we are eating foods that are diverse and are all different colors of the rainbow, and by the way, foods, fruits, and vegetables that have a different, each pigment has a different phytonutrient and mineral. So when you eat the whole spectrum of the rainbow, you're getting all these different nutrients and vitamins and minerals, which can cause more satiation, which can cause more pleasure. And I also want to invite you to play around with the 5 tastes. So we have sour, bitter, sweet, pungent, and salty. And you can see on this photo that they all have different places on the tongue, that the tongue has receptors that get activated when you eat these types of foods. So you might even want to slow down, eat your meal, and even tune into like where you feel it on your tongue. You could play around with your beloved, you could play around with your children. This is a great way to just slow down and enjoy food as pleasure. So I also wanted to just go through a couple options for each of these flavors, which you could look it up online too. But bitter, you can find bitter foods that you might want to incorporate into your diet are cacao, like we just had, if you don't put a sweetener in it, dandelion, coffee's bitter, sesame seeds, greens, any dark leafy greens. These are all bitter, and bitter correlates with the season summer, as well as it impacts the heart and the small intestines in Chinese medicine. And then the next one is, actually I skipped one. I want to start with sour first, which is spring. So this sour is in like vinegar, limes, lemons, sauerkraut. So you can play around with this. And sour can impact the liver and the gallbladder in Chinese medicine. And then going into sweet, this is like whole grains, honey. It could even be like roasted root vegetables, squash, things like that. And this can impact the pancreas, spleen, and stomach. And the next one is pungent, which this is interesting. Pungent is like ginger, garlic, scallions. It can even be wasabi. You know, you could like blindfold your beloved and put some wasabi, like give them all the tastes and then put wasabi in their mouth. They'll be like, surprise. But that's pungent. And then pungent works on the lungs and colon in Chinese medicine, the taste. And then the last one is salty, which is like sea veggies, seafood, miso, things like that. And this correlates to the kidneys, the adrenals, and the bladder. So I wanted to share that with you. And then lastly, so this is how you win your love tonic, because today's prize, which by the way, I chose the prize winner for the first Yoni pendant. I posted it on my Facebook. I believe it was Muy Organica. And yeah, that was like, if anyone shared the Succulent Self-Love Online Challenge on their Instagram, that's what it was, their Instagram story, they would enter to win that. So that just got posted today. But for the first, that was like the pre-prize. So the first prize of the challenge, which is the Love Tonic, mailed to you. This is how you win. You attend the Facebook Live. Yeah, you did it. And you share your intention. Yeah, you did it. And you invite 3 friends to this Facebook group. And I would invite you to also send them a private message and tell them about the challenge while you invite them. Because if you just invite them to the group, they're not going to understand like why they're in the group, and they may not even know that this challenge is going on. And I keep track of all of this. So I will pick a winner tomorrow morning. A few of you are on different time zones, so you're going to watch this video later. So tomorrow I will pick the challenge winner, and then I will announce it. So that concludes day 1. I'm curious to hear what questions you have, and we're going to close it out. I'm going to pull up my comments real quick. I'm hoping you all feel so deeply connected and inspired to really study your menstrual cycle, feed your fluctuating hormones, honor your body with food as pleasure. Oh, Destiny's writing her intention. My intention is to learn more and empower my life by harnessing the power of my cycle. Beautiful. Neural says, my friend Letitia made some cacao with the Love Tonic and it was great. Definitely an aphrodisiac. I know, right? Awesome. Okay. So I am going to say tonight, the email for tomorrow just came out. So that should be in your inbox. If you've had a difficult time accessing, like if you can't find your emails, they might be in your promotions inbox. Check there. As soon as you open it, those emails should stop going into your promotions and start going into your main email space. And yeah, feel free to keep sharing your intentions, everyone. Yeah, Ashling, that would be so great. So yeah, check out that email, because actually I'm going to show it to you. The salt bath ritual is in there. And this is something, if you can do tonight or tomorrow, or maybe you already did it ahead of time, that would be great. We're going to be talking about it tomorrow as well, like we're going to dive deeper into all of this, but this is what the guidebook looks like, clearing your womb space. And it has a whole ritual. And I invite you to create some space in your schedule for this. It's really great to be able to not feel the pressure of time. So if you can do this in the evening, if you're a mama and your kids are in bed, to really feel like you can take up space, because this is a deep process into your womb space, into your sacral, into your heart, and you can clear, You can clear past lover energy. You can process womb losses. You can process trauma and clear that from your body. So this can go as deep as you'd like it to go. This is all about your medicine journey. And this book is a guidepost for you. So that went out in the very first email, as well as it'll go out tomorrow too. So there are a couple more comments and then we're going to close out. Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And Roxy, thank you for your question about the Love Tonic. You know, I've asked the company about it, and I would say, just through their uncertainty, to halt from taking the Love Tonic during pregnancy. Ah, beautiful. Everyone, thank you so much for your intentions. These are gorgeous. I'm going to continue reading over these. And, you know, we are a sisterhood here. This challenge is about all of us. It is about invoking the divine feminine essence. It is about taking up space by being present in your rituals. It's about self-love so that we can feel that vitality overflowing and allow ourselves to really be present and nourish everyone around us, nourish our creative projects, nourish our dreams and our dharma by feeling like we are that cup overflowing, not this forced depletion, create, serve, resentment. Why does everybody want everything from me all the time, right? Like that can happen. This retreat is about us. It's about pleasure. It's about self-love, embodiment, self-care. So I just wanted to say thank you all. Thanks for all the hearts. And I'm just going to guide us into a closing practice. So we're going to start off we're going to close out just the way we started, and breathing deep into your womb space, your sacral chakra. You may want to use that divine feminine symbol over your womb space again. And breathe in deep here. Tuning into your womb space. How does it feel now compared to how it felt when you first took your breaths at the beginning of today's opening ceremony? Does it feel constricted? Does it feel open? Buzzing? Do you feel more connection? And then keeping one hand over your womb and one hand over your heart. Just feeling the support of this community here. Allowing yourself to really dive into these next several days, posting your photos in the Facebook group of your ELIXIRS, posting photos of your rituals, reading other people's stories. Others are mirrors for ourself and our self journey. We can learn so much through each other's stories. We are mirror reflections for each other. So maybe just tuning into that heart space, perhaps coming up with one word that you want to offer into this group, this sacred container that is here. And really feel that word, feel the essence of the meaning of that word. If it's peace, let yourself feel the sensation of peace in your body. It's ecstasy. Let yourself feel that buzzing, that purring energy in your body. Whatever it is, allow that word to become your intention, your offering for the group. Breathe in deep to your pelvis again. And breathe that energy up into your heart, filling up that intention, and then letting it infuse out into the group with your exhale. You're welcome to share this one word intention in the comments. And I love you all so much. This is the kickoff, our opening ceremony. Welcome to the Succulent Self-Love Challenge. There'll be more every day. I cannot wait to serve you in this way. This is a celebration and honoring of the Juicy Feminine Leadership Academy doors opening. And I want to share with you the last webinar. There's going to be a super juicy bonus offered to all of you if you attend the last webinar, so stay tuned for that. And I can't wait to make magic with all of you. Woohoo! Awesome. Okay, here are the words coming in: freedom, presence, passion. Oh, this feels good. I guess mine is peaceful ecstasy because that's what came through when I was sharing it. Stoked, vibrancy, choice. Ooh, I love it. Connected. Thank you. Thank you all. Love and forgiveness. Oh, this is so yummy. Wholeness. Self-love. Yes, 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 yes. Abundance of anything and everything. Love always. Light. Beautiful. If you are watching this video on the replay, continue to share in the comments. Your comments are welcome too, even if this is the replay that you're catching. We love you, and you're part of us. Time is happening all at once, I believe. So you're still part of this container magic. And womb love. Beautiful. All right. Muy organica. Yeah, good to see you here. All right. So with that, bowing to you all. And I will see you here tomorrow, same place, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, take care, everyone. Mwah!